Hi guys, it's Melissa from the Orchid Pergola, and today we have some work in the garden. We have some beauties here that need to be repotted. So let's work in the Orchid Pergola a little while, and let's enjoy spring. It's repotting time. All right, so this is my current situation. This is what happens. This one I might wait just a little bit because she's still in a beautiful state of bloomage. Look at that. So I have this one to pot up. I have Elsie Puppy Love, True Beauty, and I'm thinking this bowl or this pot. I love the bowl situation, and I'll probably put her against this side, and look at how much she has to grow into. Or I could put her here. This seems a little bit like over potting, so I think I'm gonna do Puppy Love here, and then this from Curlsmith, Apopka Splendor. I think I'm gonna do that in this pot that I got from RF because I love these kinds of pots. The beautiful Chamtang Delight. Obviously not this one, but I think this one might do well in one of these platter bowls. I don't think, maybe I need to go a little smaller. So one of these two. And then for this one that came from J&J, I think she is big enough that she's gonna be good in this, and she has a lot of new growth, so I wanna make sure that she has room to grow. So that's it. That's what I got to do today. I also have a dendrobium that I wish I had another mount for, and I swore that I had another mount, but I'm going to have to see. I'll show you now. So I have this lovely dendrobium, Dream Ace, that I want to put somewhere. But with me and this kind of dendrobium, I'm better off mounted with these. So I've got to see what I can use to mount her. I'm very, very close to taking off these two that were a little sickly and not doing well. Yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to hang her upside down on this beautiful mount and take those down from there because I am, I gave up on those two. I'm giving up. I also have a beautiful pot that I bought at the Home Goods, but that's a little bit too big for anything that I have, so I'll have to save that for another time. Repotting always starts with me cleaning the rocks. I use lava rocks, and they are very dusty. As you can see, look at all that. You don't want that inside your pot. And it's actually very satisfying to clean this. See? You shake it up. Like if you're searching for gold and you keep going. I just got an idea for my den. I'm thinking I could make a little chandelier with this, and this could be hanging upside down, and this den could be hanging from here. So tell me if you can see it. I can't do it with one hand, but tell me if you can imagine how cute that's gonna look. Like that, hanging with this pot like a chandelier. And then I have a lot of holes that I can put the hanger in. Yep, that's a great idea. Maybe I don't even need it that big. I could even do this one. Yeah, I could do that one. See, you get creative thoughts. So let's start with Puppy Love. I'll show you what I do with Puppy Love. I was gonna leave the camera rolling, but Today I want to have some alone time with my orchids, so I'm going to show you as I do it piece by piece. and tell you why I do what I'm gonna do, because I am gonna attach them with a zip tie. And I bought an industrial amount of zip ties. These are very, very strong. I believe they're from Amazon. They're pretty strong. So what I do is I tie them up by the rhizome, and then I add some rock around it. I also have some bark. So I don't know if I'm going to incorporate some bark for some of these. This one especially, because this one comes from J&J, and they grow in moss. So this is what happened to me before. I took it out very eagerly to put it in my rock, and from the moss to the rock, there was a little bit of a freak out. And let's just say they didn't like it. They're alive, they're kicking, they're great, but let's just say they didn't like the drastic change. And I spoke to Josh from the Orchid Den, and he kind of, you know, said the same thing. He's like, well, if they were potted up in moss or whatever, you can't, I mean, you can, but you know, you're gonna see a decline if you freak them out like that. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to incorporate more bark, or do like a soft repot sometimes if I see that the media is still good. But I have to be cognizant of the fact that if they were in moss, and then I'm gonna take them to rocks, just a few rocks, basically bare rooted, they might freak out, and they might be, you know, not wanting to bloom for the next season or whatever. So let's see what happens. I think this one with a little bit of rock, a little bit of bark, will be just fine. I'll show you when we're done with Puppy Love. All right, so I just wanted to show you a little bit the in-between step for those of you that are new. This is the way that I like to pot up. I don't know who else does it like me, but I know that I needed to find a way that was good for my environment, which is extremely humid. And when it rains here, it's always raining. Look at that bee. Yay! Are you coming to pollinate? Anyways, so I put a zip tie, okay? And what you want to do is you want to put it not smack in the middle. You want to put it so that the new growth has more space to grow, because it's going to grow that way. So my idea is to put it somewhat like this, so that I have all this space for this new growth to keep growing that way. You see what I'm saying? These grow on a rhizome, so they're kind of growing horizontally, opposite of Vandas, opposite of the other monopodials like phalaenopsis. Those grow up. These grow horizontally on a rhizome. So you want to basically just make sure that you give it room. There's no point in putting it in the middle and then it doesn't even have an inch to grow. So if I put this here, then you know that she's gonna have room to go that way. All right, I stopped for a minute because I want to explain something. If I would have tightened up this zip tie all the way down to the bottom, then this new growth that is growing very much sideways is going to be damaged. There's no place for her to grow. So what I'm trying to do is using the rocks, position her so that there's maximum amount of space so she can find her way out of the pot. Not put her all the way down to the bottom, because then there would be, maybe this is what would be happening if I did that. And this isn't exactly an optimal situation to have the growth come out through there. So what I want is for her to grow upright. So I left that a little bit loose, not that loose, but loose enough for me to wedge rocks around here so that I can position her so she can keep growing straight up. I will show you when we're done. All right guys, on to number 2. So another learning tidbit is, when is the best time to repot your orchid? Well, I would say when the flower is either done or on the way out, which this one is, okay? But definitely when the roots are growing. You want the roots to show that they are growing. How do you know that they're growing? Because they have these little white tips. See that? You could tell that these are in growth mode. So, like we sort of decided, either this pot or this bigger one. I'd rather have this one, but I don't have one on hand. And I want to have this one for this one because I like this one better. It's funny how the more you like the plants, the prettier pot you find it, at least in my experience. So I'm going to take it out of here and let's see what we're working with. All right, all I had to do was squish this pot. This is a really cheap pot that I won't be keeping, but squish, and then you're going to examine and see what's going on here. So this, I could see pieces of slow release fertilizer. And now this is a new thing. Have you guys encountered pieces of rubber? It looks like recycled pieces of rubber. Be very careful. This is the new roots happening over here. So I'm going to give it a nice wash. I see charcoal. That's pretty good. I see perlite, some bark, a lot of rubber, some leca. So pretty much the standard mix. Big pieces of charcoal. I might want to keep that. Keep that. So, I mean, you can do this quickly and throw everything away, or you can do it relaxing like I am doing it. But you definitely want to rinse it out and look inside and see if you find any critters. I should advise you to wear gloves, but I'm not even wearing gloves. I don't know. Sometimes I just like to get in and touch my plant. I'm going to put some charcoal that I see are big, good pieces that I can reuse. And I'm going to keep washing. I see a really good root system, so I'm really happy about that. I'm going to take off the stakes. Maybe I'll leave the one that's holding the flower up, clean her up a bit, and be right back. See, look at the rubber. Interesting. All right, so this is what I'm left with. And I wanted to say this. I didn't show you, but I wanted to say this. It is okay to get a little strong with the water and really, really clean up those sheets. So I got this information from Whimsy Orchids. When we bought some orchids from Whimsy Orchids, he's down at Homestead, he basically said, don't be afraid to get in with the jet power nozzle, okay, and really, really clean down those sheets, because that's where you're going to have all the pests hiding. See how all this was up to here with sheath, and I hit it with the jet very carefully, you know, and everything is okay. I know you might think, wow, that's too rough, but let me tell you, I'd rather know now if I'm going to be battling some scale or if they're mealies. I really don't have a problem with mealies, but scale, yes, scale are very evil. So they will hide. See, like here, this hasn't been cleaned yet. So inside here, that's where they like to hide. So you can go softly one by one, or you can hit it with a jet. The only thing is that, remember, down here at the bottom of the pseudobulb is where you have the new eyes for the new growth. So very carefully go around there, okay? And very carefully around the new roots. See, new root there. So now I'm going to position her in her new pot. I'm going to try them both to see. This I'll just throw out, and I'll show you what she looks like. So now we're halfway through. I put her with the zip tie. I left her with enough space to grow out because this is the newest growth over here. Okay, she's going to be growing this way. So look at these all beautiful roots. I put her original charcoal back in because sometimes it benefits from having familiar media. So if you see something that doesn't degrade, like charcoal or maybe even leca, you can reuse that. And there's a less freak out possibility if she has, you know, familiar. So what I'm going to do next is put lava rock all around, and in order not to destroy my hands, I'm using a little scooper. So I'm going to keep positioning the lava rock all the way around, and then I will probably take the same approach and do a layer of bark on top. So notice this is not so tight, okay? The reason why is because first I want to make sure that there's enough media, and then at the end, when there's even media underneath, then I'll give it one last tug to make sure that she is stable. A loose orchid is a dead orchid. At least that's a saying that you hear in Spanish. Orquídea que se mueve, se muere. So there's your Spanish lesson for today. You don't want her to be able to move. You want her to be stable so that those roots can find their way through the media and be tight enough that if there's wind or whatever have you, it's not going to move. Now right here, this is not as tight as it's going to go. This is as tight as it's going to go for now, so that I can put the rest of the media in, and then I'll give it one last tug, and you're going to see how tight she is. All right, that's all the rock that I'm going to add. That's all the rock that I'm going to add. Now on the top, a little bit of my bark, and then she will be done. All right, we're almost done. So you see how she's kind of messy in her growing style? This leaf is going out that way. She's gonna be not the most convenient to put on the, I'm gonna pull this a little bit more, but you can use something like horticultural Velcro, or basically any kind of Velcro. This one is green and you get it at like Home Depot or whatever, but you can use any, and then just tie them up so that they can be neater. I'll show you when I'm done. All right, and now Chamtang Fancy is done. If you see what I did here, this is what the Velcro is going to do, kind of keep it more together. This one is very unruly. I could try to tie her up, but I mean, you know what? We don't need perfection. It's better. It's secure. I love it in the pot. Now, I'm not going to cut this zip tie yet, because guess what? Here's another tip. Sometimes after a few days, you touch the zip tie and there's more room. Things settle down and there's more room for you to, you know, pull a little bit tighter. So I have learned from the past, do not cut it right away. Let it settle in for a couple days, and then you cut that zip tie. Unless you know for a fact it's all the way against where there's nowhere to go. But here, there's a lot of media all around. So I'm gonna give her a couple days and snip that afterwards. What do you guys think? So we got 2 more to go. Will I do it today? Let's see. All right, guys, so we have this one done. She looks good. And this one done. I'm really happy with how she looks. And now is the one that is making me worry a little bit. I even had to go step inside and get myself some water in my orchid cup, because I'm thinking she's gonna be in a whole mess of moss, and that's the only thing that gets me a little nervous. So let's take her out and see what it looks like. All right, so in this pot we have styrofoam peanuts, and we have moss. So I'm thinking, let me wet her a little bit and see how much I can take off carefully. There is a bunch of new roots coming out. This has a lot of roots, so I'm gonna give her a little hose down. And I have to be honest, I am tempted to not disturb her, but I know that for me, in my growing conditions, moss and pergola, oh look, a little bug, a little ant, moss and pergola equals disaster. So I need to fight my feelings of not disturbing her and just get it over. Oh no, that's a spider. So I'm gonna wet this situation, see if I can loosen up this root ball. Yeah, so these red colorings, it's not anything wrong. I'd have to be careful with this new growth, but this just means that the flower is going to be so deep, dark wine color that you can see it on the new growths and on the leaves. Okay guys, so we're about halfway through. I've already been working on this, I think at least 8 to 10 minutes, carefully, using a screwdriver, I think, to coerce the styrofoam and the moss. See, there's moss all the way into the center, so I really don't want to do that. I've done that before and for my environment, it has not worked out well to have any kind of moss. So that's the only thing about buying orchids that are in moss. If you have a good root system and they are embedded with moss, it's going to take forever if you're going to do what I'm doing. And some of these roots are not going to make it. So you know that the roots that are like this, okay, I will be cutting those off because there is a brand new root system that is starting to grow right about now. So it's okay. It's going to grow new roots, okay? My goal is to get as much as the moss out that I can. I don't care about the styrofoam. That's not what I'm aiming to take off, but sometimes to get to the moss, I have to go through the styrofoam. So I'm being as careful as I can. But yeah, not every root is going to make it, but I can't leave moss in here in Miami and expect a good results, especially now in the spring when it starts to rain a lot. Sometimes it rains for 4 or 5 days straight, and even though my pergola has the corrugated plastic on the top, sometimes the water still gets in. So it's enough to protect, so it's not getting, you know, downpour all the time, but sometimes it does come in little drips and such, or if it's windy, it just gets very wet. So I'm going to keep working on this beautiful Cattleya. Sometimes, you know what, these little projects that take long give you time to appreciate and just be thankful for everything, for nature and the beauty of orchids and your family and all that stuff. And I actually just got back from the Costco. Oh my gosh, the Costco on a Sunday. Yeah, I don't recommend that. I actually was very excited because I saw someone say that there was Cymbidium orchids at Costco for $36, like one that I bought. And I said, if I find Cymbidium orchids at the Costco, I am definitely going to grab one. But yeah, no Cymbidium orchids to be found on this trip. All right, guys, so this is a perfect teaching moment to talk a little bit about roots and when is it necessary to cut. So I have my disinfected shears. I already disinfected. I have a little baby creme brulee torch that I like to use. It's pink, but I'm not going to show that on camera because I know that I have students and children watching, so you guys will imagine what it is, but I'm not going to be showing that on camera. Anyways, so here you have a bunch of roots that are broken. If they're broken like this, look at this one. So the velamen is coming loose, and what's in the center is the actual root. It's like a really strong twine. That is the actual root. Around it you have the velamen, and when it's like this, you need to cut that off. You need to cut that off. That is no longer good. So I'm going to go around cutting off the roots that are not good. So if they're squishy, see, this one is plump, it has consistency, it's still good. This one, although it's dark, it's not broken in any way, and it still is plump. These, I'll probably cut the stringy part off, and this, I'll cut the whole thing off. Okay, so if you see that they are squishy, those roots are no longer good. If they're black and like this, see, they're broken, you want to cut that off. That's just another area where you can have bacteria enter. So I'm going to keep working away. All the ones that are like this, getting rid of them. They're growing. This one is growing a whole new set of roots back here, so I am not concerned at all for the roots. So I'm going to keep working, keep spraying, keep cleaning, and I'm going to prepare it. So it's going to go into my that pot. It's going to go into that big pot, and it's a pretty big plant, so I think it's going to be perfect. It's going to grow, and it is going to fill that pot quite nicely. Cleaning up the roots. Anything that you see that's like this, you need to take off. Use disinfected shears, guys. You don't want pathogens to travel from plant to plant. So yeah, I'll get back to you in a couple minutes, probably 10 more minutes. This one's taking forever. All right, so she's almost ready. I have sprayed the roots with hydrogen peroxide. Okay, I have hydrogen peroxide on the roots for disinfecting purposes. Look at all the massively good roots. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to push this as far to the left as possible, because these are the old bulbs over here on this side. These are the old bulbs, so there wasn't anything wrong with them. But what I want to do is I want to give the new growth space. So what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to add some rocks on the bottom, and then I'll push this all the way against, giving half of the pot for these two new growths to keep growing out this way. It's hard to hold the plant, hold the phone, and explain to you what I'm doing. So I'm going to push it that way so that these new growths have the maximum amount of space to keep growing out this way. So let's give it a shot. I do want to add probably some styrofoam or something. We just got a TV that brought a lot of styrofoam, so I think I'm going to run inside, get some big chunky pieces of styrofoam just for drainage. That's another little tidbit. You can save your styrofoam. It doesn't have to be peanuts. It could be, you know, when you buy stuff at the Costco like I did today, and break it up, and that could be good drainage. It's a protection for your roots, so just in case for some reason there's a, you know, built up water, that'll drain right through and you'll have less chance of rotting out your roots. So let me get that styrofoam and I will be right back. All right, after all that back and forth, even though you can't really see me, I went ahead and just put it on the tripod because I said, oh my gosh, this is on and off and on and off. I've already wet my phone a bunch of times. So see if you can take a look at what I'm seeing. Can you see this? This is the styrofoam that I got. Hold on. Away with the water. This is the styrofoam that I got. So just have this handy. What? All this stuff is so sensory. What?
Dad, I need you to come.
Okay. Okay, so we're back. I have my pieces of styrofoam that I'm going to add to the bottom. And again, you want the new growth to have maximum amount of room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to push this to one side so I have all of this to fill up. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add rocks. I'm going to add rocks, and then I will probably top dress it with some bark. So this is a manicure killer. So get yourself a nifty scooper thing. I don't know what it's for. I think it's for ice. I got it at IKEA. And it looks like I'm gonna have to wash some more lilac. Isn't this relaxing? I don't relax doing laundry. I don't relax doing dishes. This is what is super relaxing for me. This thing is also from IKEA. It's a colander. And the thing that this is on, this tray, is also like a shoe. What do you call it? It's a shoe tray? Does that make sense? Something that will go in a mudroom so that you can take your dirty boots off or whatever. I don't have any dirty boots situation, but I have like 5 of these, and they work awesome for when my daughter wants to do slime, which happens often, or when I cleaning my media and potting up plants. So I'm gonna need a little bit more bark. All right, and I'll be back so you can see the finishing touch, which is just put the tag in. All right, and that does it. I'm pretty satisfied with how these 3 repots came out. So notice I'm not burying any new growth. I'm not burying the rhizome. You don't want to bury the rhizome. If you feel like you need to secure it anymore, which I don't because the rocks are very, very heavy, you can add what we call a rhizome clip. There's many different kinds, but this will attach to the end of the pot and then kind of provide support, and you can jam it in there and it's kind of like a gate so that this will stay down. But I don't even think I need it. Everything is so secure. Last time when I bought from J&J, I removed her little stakes, and I thought it was I thought they were trained already, but apparently when you remove the stakes, they go psh, and they take up maximum amount of space. So I'm gonna leave the stakes, and I love it. I love it. So this has been so satisfying. I have one more. I don't even know if I have the strength. I think the flower looks so pretty. I will probably just leave it for a couple days, let her enjoy, and then after that, maybe I'll depot her. I have no more energy. This one took all my energy, taking off all that moss. Oh my gosh, but I'm really happy how she came out. And I think I'm gonna be putting her in the greenhouse. So that's it for me today. Thank you guys for joining me. This is actually March. Oh my goodness. I always say that, and then I forget. March 20, is it 3rd? March 23rd or 22nd? I think it's March 22nd. It's Sunday, and it's a relaxing afternoon repotting the next. Oh, I forgot I was gonna do this one. Okay, something will have to wait till tomorrow because I am exhausted. I'll see you guys next time. I hope you make time for things you love. Bye.